Professionals who need to publish at a high level face a consistent bottleneck: the friction of translating a complex thought into a finished draft. Turning to a large language model usually yields 500 words in seconds. However, that output often sounds like a machine doing an impression of a professional: synthetic, hollow. Most creators fail here because they prompt for a topic. They feed the AI facts and ask for an explanation, rather than providing the machine with a blueprint for how to think. High-leverage AI utilization requires using the LLM as a reverse engineering tool first. It needs to map the structural blueprint, the voice DNA, of human writing that already works. Shifting from semantic generation to structural extraction allows you to scale ghostwriting while maintaining actual authority. Standard AI usage relies on semantic generation. You ask the model to summarize a shift in B2B sales cycles, and it provides the most statistically probable response. This results in predictable transitions and a total lack of intellectual tension. The language is designed to be average, which is the opposite of thought leadership. Human resonance is found in sentence rhythm, the timing of information delivery, and the specific framing of opinions. These are mechanical choices, not just vocabulary choices. A voice DNA is an objective blueprint of these structural mechanics. It isolates the invisible scaffolding of a specific writer or a successful post, stripping away the subject matter to see how the piece functions. Effective AI ghostwriting programs the machine with this specific rulebook before introducing the actual topic of the post. This begins with the brand voice map protocol. You take a highly successful human-written post and feed it into the model as a baseline. The first prompt command prohibits the AI from summarizing. Instead, it must analyze the specific psychological job the first line performs on the reader. This diagram maps narrative flow, identifying exactly where the text creates tension and when it's released. Next, it documents rhythm, recording sentence lengths and whether transitions use soft hedges or hard cuts. We also extract the precise opinion weight. The AI pinpoints where the author remains objective and where they commit to a hard stance. Mapping what the author simply never says, specific words or cliched tones, is as important as mapping what they do say. The final output is a voice DNA card. It is a highly specific document built on real patterns and examples, replacing generic adjectives like authoritative with actual structural rules. This card acts as a rigid operating system. It forces the LLM to follow human mechanics, preventing regression to its pre-trained robotic baseline. Once the voice DNA is established, the writing phase begins. However, the AI still requires rigid psychological categorization to start a post effectively. The prompt forces the LLM to generate 5 distinct hook angles for a single idea. The hard truth and the counterintuitive take state an uncomfortable reality or subvert a common expectation. The specific moment and the number inject high stakes into the writing without a slow setup. Finally, the direct challenge addresses the reader head-on, shifting the burden of tension directly onto them. Every generated hook must follow 2 negative rules: a strict character limit under 180 characters and an absolute ban on template phrasing. We apply the rigorous standalone sentence test. If a hook does not compel the reader to immediately read the second line on its own merit, it is a failure. These rigid psychological constraints, combined with the voice DNA, force the AI to construct hooks that actually capture professional attention. The final phase is the analytical review. This requires reviewing the past month's published content to drive future strategy. Instead of asking for a generic summary, we command the AI to correlate engagement metrics like saves and shares back to the structural choices mapped earlier. The AI identifies if the hard truth drove comments, while the number drove shares. This data dictates specific strategic shifts, defining which structural elements to increase, decrease, or stop, based strictly on performance. This produces actionable changes for how future posts should be formatted and written. You instruct the AI to generate new ideas that extend the mechanics of what already worked, rather than inventing new concepts from scratch. This closed loop converts engagement signals into structural adjustments, transforming creation from a series of guesses into a repeatable, data-backed system. This unifies the process into a 3-part framework: plan the architecture, write with structural constraints, and improve through analytical loops. The voice DNA card and insights plug into a 30-day calendar. The grid locks in the format, angle, and hook style for every day. This creates recurring series formats, building a recognizable presence audiences actively return for, instead of just scrolling past. Scaling high-level ghostwriting succeeds by prioritizing structural engineering over subjective creative choices. The most powerful prompts are those that build bespoke rule sets before any content is ever generated. These methods transform random ideas into a systematized architecture. Mastering these constraints turns the AI into a precise ghostwriting engine, replicating sophisticated thought leadership.